recording.
私はリタラカですね。今日はブレイキングウィンドダイアログショーですね。はい。私たちの友達、マンボスさんですね。はい。マンボスさん。
はい。
大丈夫ですか？Say hi.
Yo quiero?
はい。面白い。おかしい人だ、マンボスさんですね。はいはいはいはいはい。今日はタピック、面白い、things to talk about.
Yes.
日本語は面白い、本語ね。Japanese is a very interesting language, isn't it?
Absolutely. I thought I was on the wrong channel for a minute.
Oh, you are. I mean, I know I am.
I just started studying it, so I only grasped the Retardica I heard and mumbled.
Well, you put love and fart together, and there's no denying that's a stroke of genius. So I'm curious. I'm curious. Oh yeah, just on the surface, from my own personal experiences.
Yeah,
it's a match now. The words are coming slower and slower to old Uncle Retardica. You've been hitting the books pretty hard lately since we last talked, and I made a couple of videos that intrigued me. And where do you want to steer this sinking ship today, my friend?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
Great.
I didn't do too much of anything. I mean, you put some pressure on me last episode.
Oh yeah.
For the inner Earth stuff, and I was like trying all day to find. I had a list of places. Like I said, there was like 10 places.
Yeah, you gave us the cliffhanger.
I'm pretty sure I shared the information on the channel once before. If somebody wanted to waste hours and hours coming through videos, but I know I showed the page on a video once before. Hopefully, I didn't delete that video, but I know I have it kicking around somewhere. But yeah, that was one of the things I kind of wanted to get into was like an inner Earth expedition. Trying to see about organizing something like that.
Well, you're gonna organize something, are you?
Well, there's one of those supposed entrances on that list. I remember was in, I believe, like St. Mark's in Manhattan.
Oh, it's local.
Yeah, there's one of them in New York. Oh, well, there might be more than one in New York. I know. There's one in the Superstition Mountains. And I know there's one. I know there's one under the foot of the Sphinx that supposedly, leads to the halls of Amante. But
that's convenient.
Yeah. But that just might be a folklore.
Well, there you go, folks. There's your payoff.
Sphinx, that's that's just a tourist trap, people. That's they dug that around like 16 late 1600 or something. 17.
Well, how else are they gonna eat if they don't trap people?
Yeah, well, they can't. They can't eat.
Yeah, I mean that's just math right there.
Yeah.
of the coldest and hardest kind.
Yes.
Well, it would surprise me actually if you felt any pressure, one, to do any research for this show whatsoever, and uh, two, actually invest money into a book in probably one of the most difficult languages to learn. Uh, if you really want to get into the study of Japanese,
Yes.
I would recommend uh, giving up.
Ah.
So that's so. Or old Uncle Retardica can give you some fun YouTube channels to go to that are free of commercials, free of thumbs up, like, and subscribe speeches, and
Yeah.
Patreon accounts that
Yeah.
slowly, if which at the time I had the concentration to sit down for just 5 fucking minutes
Yeah.
and just it's very difficult. I mean, honestly, it's difficult to do because you bail quickly. But if you do it, the payoff is awesome because it starts to unlock not just the language, but it's kind of a mirror into your own psyche, and then with whatever's got you clicking and whirring, you'll be able to process all kinds of interesting relationships
Yeah.
in the different
Yeah.
sets of characters. There's 3 sets of characters, and the simplest ones are called romanji, and that's where you would want to start with, where the basic sounds are. The vowels never change like in English. All the vowel sounds constantly change depending on what kind of magic you're being fucked with. But
Yeah.
in Japanese, it's the A E I O U goes A I U E O, and it never changes, and it has very little inflection. They say it's a flat language, but that's not exactly a good way to put it. But there's not a lot of this tap dancing and poetic jumping around. I don't know about poetic, but phonetic jumping around. I don't know.
Well, there's like you said before, there are several different versions, I guess, or at least three different. And there is one adaptation where it's basically where they can spell everything phonetically and the
In
romanization.
English.
Yeah.
You've done your homework, my friend.
Well, like I said, I just grabbed that one book, and it's mostly.
Gobbledygook.
Well, no, I mean, I did get some insights out of the first few pages. I really wanted to underline some stuff, but I didn't have my space pen handy.
Yeah,
So
you had to get some new wands.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta go back in and underline some of the points that I wanted to make with the Japanese stuff.
Well, if
Yeah,
I said,
there's definitely a lot of parables just by or parallels, but just looking at some of the basic structures of some of the symbols. They look like what they're talking about, basically.
yeah, that's it. There's great parables too, like turtles that steal children and eat cucumbers. But that's for another time. The kappa, if you'd like to
uh,
look into the kappa.
uh-huh.
He's sort of a lazy looking character, man turtle.
Yeah.
Not quite as, yeah, he's a man turtle. He's a bipedal turtle. He goes
Uh,
around and collects kids and eats cucumbers whenever he gets the notion.
nice.
And
Nice.
he's featured on a lot of cucumber products in Japan.
Uh-huh. Mr. Cucumber.
So,
Second.
the underground entrances. I totally forgot about that. Uh, I guess that cliffhanger wasn't too intriguing for me. Like, Why are we gonna go underground? I can't even figure out what's happening on the streets in
Oh
front of
yeah,
me.
well, I guess there's more to it than just that. I mean, you're not going underground per se in what the traditional sense of the word is. You kind of have to imagine the hollow earth theory,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
like a model of that in your head,
sure.
and just realize that we're already on the inside, and we have, we're on the basically the concave dish on the inside of the wall.
Yeah, done and done. That's
So
always
it's
made
about
sense to me. Layers
it,
of that seems to make sense too, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's like ultimately, it's like it's like a big onion. It's lots of peel,
with lots lots of appeal with with a
lots of layers. Lost.
we're in this gas bubble in between a layer. Yep.
Yeah, you're getting choppy. You're chopping up on me.
Well, that's one of the disadvantages of doing an earlier show.
You think it's more traffic?
Well, I got more hassle on my end for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the beavers get into the LAN.
Ah, I hear you.
Yeah, yeah, you do.
All right. So,
But
I don't
let's
know.
keep. Well, okay. I'm kind of curious. Tied into that, you had a turtle of your own,
Yeah.
and at a high rate of speaking, I was able to discern chemtrails and inside of and a couple other words, more words than that. But I wanted to get it straight from the horse's mouth.
That's me.
Yeah, you're Mumbles on that.
Sure.
So, in your best horse voice, explain everything.
All right.
Uh,
So I think I guess I should just recap and reread what I had read on that.
did you write it or
Yeah,
did
I
somebody?
just fucking slap that down on my typewriter like real quick. So it's full of errors and
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the good shit.
yeah. So I think a lot faster than I type. So it's hard to keep up.
I hear you.
But yeah, I basically start out talking about that it is not in the natural order of being to have the sense of self-preservation. Animals, do not think when they fight. It's all instinctual, natural fight or flight mechanism. Which human. That's also a human response mechanism. Um,
Mm.
a response for an injured animal is to go and curl up and die. Um, and that's to me is related with the human tendency to go within, like basically looking to go curl up and die, like
Mm.
like the hair salon in the Blues Brothers movie.
Oh, that escaped me. All right.
Yeah, yeah, with Carrie Fisher. There's a lot going on in that movie as well. That
Yeah, there is.
little bit of the backstory with the Blues Brothers, with the Bluesmobile. That car is the backstory is supposedly it has superpowers, or
Hmm.
because of where it was parked. It was parked like next to a transfer station or something. So that
Mm.
like a little backstory that
Mm.
never really made it into the official production. So that like it's like a super powered car, but
Yeah, I hear you.
that these two lost souls are traveling
Look,
around on a
looking for
mission.
the light.
Yeah, they're on a mission from God, and then yeah, you got Ray Charles in the movie pretending to be blind,
Yes,
and
he is.
they show you right in the fucking movie he could shoot the fucking kid from like 40, like the little kid was like trying to thieve a record or something, and he fucking he
Uh-huh.
fell across the room. Like they're telling you he's not blind, but that's
Yeah,
a different that's
they're
a different.
telling somebody. They're telling
So
you.
Like I'm trying to like think of the name. I don't know if it was like the Magic Bus or something, a TV show with it's like a cartoon.
The
Where
Great
they shrunk.
Space Coaster.
I don't know. They shrunk down in like this little school bus, and like they always like drove inside like human bodies, and like went and like
Oh,
adventures on the inside of the body and stuff. And
God, I remember, and I thinking I hate having those memories.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah. I was like,
so that, I uh, to move past that a little, like I kind of got into the uh, how each generation gets progressively worse as a direct result of forced incestization.
yes,
Incesticidization.
and that's a
Uh,
custom word.
yeah, well, you kind of get what I'm trying to convey. That there, if it started out,
Yeah,
the fucking creation model is all right. We started out with fucking one guy and one girl. We're all fucking inbred, basically. Okay,
that's their story. Yeah, that's their story.
so each generation, that's how genes are like hereditary traits, and genes are passed on. It's because you're related. It's not like um,
Sure, and that's why you get the
it's
big goofy nose
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
sloppy behavior.
Right, and then the mental retardation results as is just too much inbreeding
Yeah.
or too direct of an inbreeding.
Well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, yeah,
If that's the story, somebody put together. Yeah, that's the end of the story right there. Like you don't have to type too far before you know you got to abandon ship. Maybe crumple that one up and throw it in the waste bin. But but these motherfuckers, go for the gold, so to speak.
yeah,
They run the full gamut with the fucking thing. So I think probably they confuse themselves in a they go too far. Let's just say they just go too far,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then they try. One, they have to hide the fuck ups that they've made, and two, they have to. Well, they can't, but they have to figure out what they've done wrong so they can go back and correct it, but they can't do that. So what they need to do is throw poison on it and set it on fire before they get caught. So it's really a situation where everyone else suffers from the mass delusion of people with an unlimited budget. And even with the best of intentions, perhaps, of enlightening humanity, uh, you know, but I think man left to his own devices would be quite all right to tend the garden and not drive cars and
Yeah, but you're still serving the same bodily system.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's no way of getting out of that I can conceive of, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. But
Well, I'm saying that if if the human body is a model of the universe, then it stands to reason that we exist on the interior surface wall of the lungs, submersed in a pneumatic pneumonia. Um, so, like to expand on that, yeah, we're on the inside of like the human body. If we cut one open, we'll find two lungs. So, where is the other lung? Where is the other world that runs tandem with this one? There has to be another lung somewhere in the equation, which I think is a whole other uh, what we would call a universe, or another
oh,
galaxy. It would be another galaxy going to the next lung. You know.
so you're saying the uh, okay? So we're using the pair of lungs as a metaphor for the for what we're calling the world.
Well, it's not
And
metaphorical. I think there's
well,
actually
we're
a
we're using it we're using it as a model. I mean, we're using the human body as a model to
yes,
represent. the greater scope, our outside world. So our outside world is another lung. But you're saying there's another lung to match this world, as as
Yeah.
in as in are we living in a pair of lungs? I guess it doesn't matter a pair. They
Well,
do the same
yeah.
job.
I
It's not
mean,
like,
there's got to be a pair of them. There has to be a pair of lungs. You
well,
know.
yeah, because you got to make the the phrase you coined, double funnel. You can't have a double funnel with one lung, and you
Right.
can't have an inhale without an exhale,
Yeah.
and you
I
can't
don't
have
know
a
if
twirl
there's.
without a swirl.
I mean, I don't. I can't really. I don't know too much about physiology and animal life and stuff. But I don't know if there's any animal that that exists with one lung. I mean, yes, you could do it. You have a lung removed, but through natural occurrences, I believe everything is brought in with two lungs, right? Is that like a
I
general?
all, all
Well,
except the lungfish, which is a conundrum within itself.
yeah, I suppose that
I have no
aquatic
idea.
aquatic life might be a whole different animal, but
Yeah, but like you said, we
as
don't
far as
know. We
mammals
don't.
mammals go,
We don't know what we're talking about, so it doesn't. There's not a whole lot of pressure here. So
yeah, well, yeah,
speculation is the stuff magic is made of for us.
yeah,
So you're saying the skies that we see today are filled
yes.
with nicotine smoke.
Well, it could be nicotine smoke or the smoke of, yeah, crops burning and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it's
Oh, I
gonna
see.
gonna
Well,
go somewhere.
I'm
Uh,
I'm I'm placing my bets that these lines in the sky are coming out of low level, scaled down aircraft of some kind, probably drones or something like that. That's just based on what I see and how they move. Um,
uh,
how could that be related to your gaseous onion layer bubble world lung?
well, I mean, as far as the scale of the planes, I don't know if they're just using drones. I'm sure they're doing it on a large capacity, so I'd imagine that they'd have some commercial line size jets doing this as well.
Well, not to be exclusive, but yeah, there's some up high, there's some down low.
Yeah, they're all.
But there's definitely a variety of things going on. But in reference to one of the aspects of, I can see only one reason to do low lying things, and that's to affect what's on the ground, where high lying things would be more to affect what's up in the troposphere, ionosphere, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
So what's up high could be sprayed to either block the sun from coming down or to create a shield to absorb the sun to transfer that energy elsewhere. Also, opening and closing different pressure systems to move and manipulate the wind whichever way. Uh, and then also to create or manipulate the precipitation that's natural or coming from these local ground based power generation plants. But the lower level stuff looks like the higher level stuff, meaning the lower level aircraft, the lower altitude aircraft that are scaled down. It would seem to be a benefit to microdose populations at certain times of the day or certain seasons to keep them on script, so to
yeah,
speak. So if your livestock is getting a little too riled up and you need to tone them down, or they're not getting riled up enough, it seems you could pretty much calculate the best times based on the calendar and the holidays and alcohol and sugar consumption. It seems like you could light a match uh, in any given moment. Well, let's not say light a match, but you could move the herd one way or the other, and
Yeah.
that could be to your benefit as a author of a big retarded story that involves incestuous families. You know, because they
Yeah.
don't care. These systems are in place, and there's something at the wheel, but it doesn't seem to be a cognizant human entity. It so I don't. Money doesn't seem to be a factor to. It can't just be these greedy top hat wearing monocle mustachio twisting, you know, diabolical dudes.
I think you're trying to explain is like when we have the notion of they and like the entities that are controlling us, it's like you know you're not telling your body's not telling your lungs to breathe in and out. It's a
Yeah, yeah,
it's just subconscious, however you want to phrase it. It's just you know a natural rhythm that you don't have to put any conscious thought into. So that's
yeah.
kind of what I'm thinking. It's like interdepartmental like communication is flawed. So these higher
Mm.
entities, you call them, maybe they're from the heart. Maybe they're all heart centered beings or something, or maybe they're all from the brain. Whatever's telling
Mm.
the lungs to actually uh, carry out the respiratory function that we're carrying out. So, like we're on a need to know basis and we don't need to know. All we need to know is how to do our jobs, how to fucking pollute, how to make roads. And, we're just exchanging gases on this grand level, on a grand scale. Uh, and the roads are basically like the capillaries, and the trees are like the barunci, and like the leaves are the capillaries. So
Sure.
yeah,
Well, when you
yeah,
have trees and uh, overlapping or modeling capillaries and the like, these are organic, and I know it's a fine line between what we've been taught is alive and not alive because I'm in the minority that would suggest that rocks are alive and minerals are alive. And uh, so you're saying like the roads that we build, like highways and things like that, is part
they're alive.
of
They conduct, yeah,
they
they're
can
conductors.
they're conductors that and that would make sense.
The
But
South Conduit Express. You ever spend time on the South Conduit down there?
I
Over
hear you. It's a little bit of congestion.
Yeah, well, I think they play on it. They know that it somewhere along the line somebody has the information that they know that just serve this system. And,
But I think I make a distinction between uh let me flesh this out here. The things that's telling my heart what to do and the thing that's telling my lungs what to do, I
yeah,
just I just leave that at that is uh, that's the is, right? That's the flow. That's uh, the God, the God, or the Father, or the thing that I can't understand. They can be mathematically explained and scientifically played with, but
yes,
it cannot be quantified and therefore can't be understood because it can be measured and it can be described, but it can't be explained what it is. So I can just I'm comfortable kind of leaving that like the tree grows and does its thing, and there's these what's the common way of putting it would be these natural events, and then I see these things that are created by man that I feel like only are created by man because it's been other men have been interrupted by illusion and deception and conceptualization and mathematics and things like this. So automobiles and expressways and houses and buildings and all these things come into the material world, which you would call Satan's domain, so to speak, or the monetary system.
Yeah.
So I see for myself a value in recognizing there's a distinction between those two things. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Have, have have you read the Tao of Physics? Have you read that book?
No.
That's a pretty good one. I'd recommend that.
Is that a recent one?
No, I think 1975, 74, something like that. And,
Yeah, is it? Well, let me write it down. The Tao of Physics. That's easy enough to remember, but I'll forget
yeah,
it.
it basically it explores the parallel between Eastern and Western, Eastern mysticism and Western science, basically. So it just shows
Well,
all the parallels, and um, but
so
uh,
there's a way. So using that, the Eastern and the Western idea, which became real popular in the '60s with Alan Watt and psychedelic use and the anti-war movements and all these sort of things that were coming into the popular lexicon. Uh, uh, and that's where we get our New Age um, behavior. Our recent New Age behavior has become kind of the new religion. But the Eastern and the Western. Now I can see man can work in harmony with these principles. Like if we understand the double funnel principle,
yeah,
you and I are going to be able to, magnetize a stone and flip it right side up or the other which way to make the seeds propagate
yeah,
more robustly. Uh, Things like that for growing food, staying in harmony with the nature. I always use Japan just because I've been just studying the language, so it creeps into my head. Um,
yeah,
they don't put billboards up along the highways and things like that. They have something called shake, shake is uh, like looking at a small garden that would be in your yard and looking out on the mountains and seeing no distinction between the smaller and the greater. It sort of blends into each other. That's, despite all the perverted strangeness that happens there, that's something that they grow up with at a younger age. It's just sort of beaten into them. They don't really recognize that they're doing it. But there's a harmony with the food. Like they just instinctually will grow food better, not use poison in their garden, and so not that one culture is better than another, but taken to the extreme, say building machines to slaughter cattle faster to generate income for you see what I'm saying, that distinction there.
yeah.
Do you think that the
Yeah.
habit, do you think it's natural to, oh god damn, these things are hard to talk about, they're hard to explain. Do you think, do you see human beings as doing naturally what they're supposed to be doing as like a corrosive force?
Well, you're either one or the other. You're either, like a hydrogen or you're like an oxygen atom. You're either light or you're heavy. And
So if we're to use that analogy, we're water, then we're both. That means we have hydrogen properties in parts of the population of humans, and then we have corrosive oxygenated. Uh,
right,
so,
that's the dualism. That's
and now is the dualism man-made? Is that something that is
the
in
dualism. The dualism came, or the awareness of the dualism came after we ingested sugar, or i.e., the beast. So Like our story is just that Eve ate the apple, but somewhere throughout uh, time, uh, the sugar entered into the equation, and now that's basically the parasitic, whatever, the
Wait, now,
parasite inside the system of the lungs, and then years
now,
later, they tried to flush that fucking beast out with the flood, and the flood really just resulted in us having pneumonia overall. So now we're trying to basically restore the lungs into a better capacity. So our bronchi reach the heavens like they used to. The trees used to be fucking megalithic in comparison to what we have now.
I'm hearing you. I'm following this. This is good shit.
But
But
yeah, like
the sugar. Now, I want to go back to the to the sugar and the relation to parasitic. Give me some more. Unpack that a little bit more.
oh
Right.
geez, I don't know. Yeah, that's like the Monster Energy drink. On the can, you have
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like,
horrific sentences. So it says 666. Unleash the beast.
no,
You
I can see that on I can see that in our daily life since
yeah,
since I was a kid I was eating Count Chocula cereal and Frankenberry and Blueberry Crunch. I'd get wild and I'd mix them all together. I didn't
yeah.
give a fuck. I was off the hook. But
Right.
before I before I showed up to the party, there was sugar. There's the spice, right? Culture follows the spice. We obviously have these. Are you talking about literally like the processed sugar
Well,
created?
that particularly, yeah, that's even worse than the natural sugar. We're talking
So
about an apple. We're
so
talking about apple sugar, like
so
from an
you're
apple.
okay. So you're using the story in the Bible as you're saying the apple created the beast. Well,
So who
but
gave the apple? Who gave the apple to Eve? That was the snake or Satan in disguise, right? And then who
well that
once the sugar reached us, that's the same as like the light or Lucifer, the light coming down, or the illumination of now we're understanding, this, or we have this dualistic nature of oxygen.
oh the dualism. Yeah, okay. The dualism comes from there. Sure, I get it. Or the awareness of the dualism. Well,
Yeah,
I guess because there's so many fun ways
before
to
that, like, yeah, going back before that, before we had the awareness of the dualism, we were all just swinging doors, doing naturally what our body functions do naturally, like breathing and just
yeah, and
existing. Yeah,
I think there's that interesting moment just because in that one moment there's so many groovy interpretations of that moment with Adam and Eve, but people it's been lost in that story as well that there was man and woman before that, and uh it was after the creation on the seventh day, and then and it was the Lord God who made uh Adam, which is like where atomism started. The
yeah,
is for this story was probably written. It could have been written in the 1800s, or the 1611 is the date that we're given, and that's when the popularity of the globe started really being uh, uh, I don't know, like pushed, like heavily propagated.
yeah.
And as far as the timelines, these things are so wiggly; it's hard to tell. But it seems that you get Shakespeare and the Globe Theater. I mean, the fucking thing was called the Globe Theater around
Yeah.
that time, 1611. You get Francis Bacon. You get all John Dees and his buddy. What was his buddy's name? They were they were a dynamic duo. One would
Uh,
one would divine and the other would record. But
I
it
have it right.
doesn't matter. But it was about that time. We get all these stories. Then the discovery, the quote unquote discovery of the new world. all this all this shit is packed into that narrative at that one time, which makes it incredibly suspect. So probably the Adam and the Eve was being pushed right then, where uh, advertising of I think it's the advertising of duality, and so, but the man was created, the Adam was created, but there was no woman for him. So the Lord God, who I've always recently been taken to mean Satan, the Lord of this world, sort of the slum lord of this world that creates all the buildings and then charges rent for them, and creates
Yeah.
economies and money.
Yeah.
Created this woman, but this woman couldn't actually produce more people. It was dysfunctional from the beginning. It was sort of a, yeah, other people have other interpretations of this, of course. But
Right.
before then, in the very beginning of I guess it was Genesis 1:1, you you have the creation of you have the 7 days, resting on the seventh day. That's when the Lord God, Satan, came in, the deceiver, the great deceiver, and mimicked the creation. But who knows? This is all allegory. You can read Norse mythology and hear about how there was ice and then there was fire, and they came together, and the cow licked the ice, and the ice that he licked became man. But
Yeah.
it can go on and on. But uh, there there's this thing that left alone that just is, which seems to be man and woman, and then all this manipulation thereof, like I don't know what to call it, like mechanization, manipulation of the creation to make things like cars and concepts. I think the concept of duality. My question to you, Mumbles, is duality a thing, or is it a concept created and and fed to people and instilled in them so that they behave dysfunctionally and they become the destructive force in nature?
Well, I think you could escape from the limited perspective of a dualistic uh, system, but I think inherently where we all have physical properties that make it dualistic.
And that's what I wonder, because is that
You
in
you
our
can
mind?
fix your
In our
mind. You can
mind, is
fix
it like
your
that?
mind to whatever you want. You fix your mind to be, you could tell yourself all day that you're not dualistic, and just try not, and just
Yeah, I've tried it. Didn't work so
you
great,
know, yeah,
but
but
it's
who's
because I
gonna?
didn't practice a lot.
Yeah, but how do you have any? There's no witness except for you to attest to it. Uh, so it's hard to say. Like I think it's really just mental constructs of being able to escape a dualistic system.
So
We would have more moons in our sky if that was if that's like the allegory we're going for. There would be more than one sun if that was the case.
well, if are we the only gas bubble in the onion layers?
No, no, and we're
So,
part of
so
we're just a small part or an integral part of a bigger system. But I think overall it's um, either uh, the universal body is either in a phase of regeneration or it's in a phase of disintegration right now. So I don't can't really tell. I mean, it kind of looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it always does.
now I agree. It does seem that way, but I'm starting to think, just like the double funnel where it's going in and out at the same time. It's constantly part of existence is constantly things are uh, being built and things are being torn down, and it's just a matter of how you conceptualize it. So for me, I live in the city, and it looks like everything certainly is being torn down. But if I if I eat the right fruits and vegetables that day and drink a little bit more water and get my dick sucked, I might have a different perspective that everything is a-okay,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
and so even within myself, I can see the flux, and I don't see it as a contradiction. I just see it as sort of a natural acclimation to whatever I'm experiencing at that moment, and that uh, the duality is something that I see those masters illusionists presenting us, always only giving us at least two choices. I mean, you go to a supermarket or something like that if you have to. You'll see that one product has been divvied up into nine different products that visually look almost exactly the same. They just change the color a little bit. The font's exactly the same. So you kind of get crippled with indecision. And then when you're brought up with duality, like how you're taught in school, good and bad and black and white and hot and cold, and especially now, like I like and I hate. Um, it's I mean, what about everything else in between? It's like,
Well, we just built this. We're cells. We're like, um, again, like think of the human body, and our uh, perspective. Like we have blood that circulates around in a system, and that carries around radicals, and these radicals are, either helpful or harmful, and they either create or destroy. So all of this shit that's built is either a system that was put in place to further along the destruction or to help remedy with the repair of the system.
mm,
And
yeah,
again, that that dualism where we have this external feeling of self, like where we can remove ourselves from outside the body, like we're higher spiritual beings. Well, yeah, I mean, we all have spirits. We're all in the same. We're all submersed in the same system. So that's the life force energy that runs through everything. When the life force energy stops, everybody stops. Okay,
mm,
So it's um, I don't know where I left off, but the yeah, I was getting into the chemtrails
all
and
right,
tying that into being asthma medication, on a grand scale, on the grand universal scale, like
no, that
like maybe we have good scientists that are like, oh, we have to help the fucking body, we have to help, expel these whatever polluting gases, and that's what they're trying to do is interject fucking chemical treatment to help fix it, or it's probably more just destructive because of all the language that you could find, um,
yeah,
but going back to what I was reading off of what I had written, um, I left off, we're in a submersed pneumatic pneumonia, COPD chemtrail medi-dose to help the lungs in good order. Now, what is COPD? Chronic, chronic obstruction pulmonary disorder, right?
mm.
That's COPD. But what is COP apostrophe D?
Yeah,
Now, the cops are controlling the roads, which are these, the arteries that help the system carry along pollutants, and whether it's just the human respiration, breathing out the carbon dioxide, or if it's like the actual emissions from the car, like are all these things created for the same model that
mm.
I'm that I'm trying to explain.
It's not. It's
Like,
not
like
easy.
all oxygen does is or let's see, like oxygen oxidizes, which is corrosion. Uh, you are just the ability of, a helpful exchange of gases carried through the inside surface of the lungs. Uh, our grounds are the roads, and the transportation problems. uh,
And this
but
is the traffic report from Breaking
yes,
Wind,
and
Chopper
yeah,
Chopper
like
13.
like the heat, the fire, like the wildfires and all that. That's like, when I was researching vaporizing, like doing my THC vaporizing thing, like
Mhm.
different temperatures range different results as far as what the medication does. So like
Mhm.
the hotter temperatures, um, they initiate new cell growth. So and that kind of ties back into the like Aborigines agricultural methods, like where they would burn fields to, so like they get a better crop the next year.
Mhm.
Uh, that's kind of like the same concept. Like we're burning off these trees and we're stimulating new cell growth within the lungs to
Sure.
try to repair them.
Sure.
And then yeah, the
So
COPD thing, the COPD thing, that was tying back into the Blues Brothers. They were driving around in a cop car, right?
there you go.
I had a lot more bouncing around in my head yesterday with that.
Well, these things bounce around the head, and
Yeah.
it's almost like we customize these models because I get the same thing, something rattling around in my, and as soon as I want to articulate it, it the words are not forthcoming, and there's so much water shooting out of the fire hose that
Yeah.
I just am randomly blasting whatever is you know unwittingly standing in the way, which is basically you and whoever chooses to dig, dig this up out of the archives.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Oh, this
there's
is a
nothing
special
wrong with that.
this is a special episode, isn't it? We
This
broke into
number
the double
10,
digit on this one.
double digits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have reached the age of completion.
we've reached completion. We're in between 9 and we're on the wire, and God
You
help
see the Halo,
everyone below, because I
and
feel
we're discussing the Halo Earth model.
Halo,
The
Halo,
Halo. You know,
and I man, this is satisfying because it's been about, when was March Madness? March Madness of
that was
2000.
in March of
Well,
sometime.
the real March Madness was 2015, I think, is when whatever was happening on YouTube, it was a big push. There must have been a new algorithm that was fresh, a fresh model off the floor that they instigated or something, because that's when the conspiracy culture got a shot in the arm. And as we know, the conspiracy culture is just there to create red herrings and wild goose chases and dead ends and entertainment and crippling indecision of fantastical thoughts and conceptualization. And that was 2015, I think. And been about 4 years that I've chased every one of those red herrings dug myself out of so many holes and dead ends that is very satisfying to hear someone else try to articulate, a hollow earth, or the concept of layered earth, and using the human body, or using anatomy as the model to kind of decipher what we're seeing outside of ourselves. And, if maybe 8 years ago, I wouldn't have considered a mineral to have life, or I wouldn't have even, blinked at, like, now the idea of how crystals grow is fucking fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I can't expound on that, but just the fact that it's fascinating is enough for me that I'm like, man, that's great. That means something's turned on. I'm going to put that in my own personal filing cabinet. And I've gotten to a point where it's fun to share it, but I'm kind of realizing, like you said, it's what, what you are taking in. It's a customized adventure. It's a create your own adventure sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no beginning, no end, and there's no explanation. But there's something that's driving me, that I'm starved for this, because my whole life I've been wired this way, and then
Yeah.
finally with the internet and my ability to, it's not perfect, but to break apart information more efficiently. Like you said, I
Yeah.
throw I do throw away things very quickly now, but that's because I'm kind of satisfied. If I see something going in a certain direction, I don't have a lot of energy left, man. I'm sort of burned out, but
Yeah.
I have a hunger to learn more, and I get these times where I can really digest and process information super fast. So listen to you as you're feeding a turtle, you know, some greens and tangerines, clementines,
Yeah.
and I'm watching that. These are not small things, man, and I'm watching it on a screen. Burned out after a day of work, instead of just sitting there drinking a beer and getting woozy,
Get
and
wasted.
getting woozy, dog. I think that's what the kids say.
Yeah.
I'm watching, someone else who's like banging out thoughts on a typewriter. That can't keep up with his own inner workings. Is great,
Yeah.
man, and it shows something's going on. I'm always saying that something's going on, and it's satisfying. But well done,
Yeah.
though.
Well,
A great way to break into the 10th episode.
yeah. Well, I think we're just exposing ourselves to be the true free radicals of this universal body.
And you think we're oxidizing it and breaking it down?
Well, as far as like the systematic control that we're under right now, we're radicals in their regard.
Well, I've limited my sugar intake, that's for sure.
Free radicals, as you would say.
Born free.
So we could either attach to some hydrogen and lift ourselves, or we could attach to more oxygen and stay, in this pulmonary disease.
Well, it seems like we're going to have one foot in both worlds, always.
Yeah, well, now it's getting back into finding the way out of the inside of the lung. And yeah, I mean, I've heard Solomon's tomb. There's a passageway that leads it's an 800-mile fucking passageway
Okay.
onto interior Earth, which again would be the outside of the lungs. You're still inside the body, which i.e., you're still going to feel like you dug out of something, but
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. So it works both ways, whether the spheres, inverted or not. You
Yeah.
could
There's
see
always going to
either
be
way.
inside and outside.
Yeah. If you're sailing around in a circle, or whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So once you go through the tunnels to get to the outside of the lung, which would have all the appearances of digging, uh, out or into the inside of the earth. Um, you'll. I think that's where like the expanse of the cosmos might be. Like maybe like this celestial sphere where all of the stars are fixed is really just like the hole that you know where our gases ultimately collect and exchange.
Mm.
Or,
Like nose
it's
holes.
kind of like where does the fresh water, like how do the glaciers uh, basically continue to grow? Like glaciers, there's new glaciers every year, and they're freshwater. Where are they coming from? Like,
Yeah, see, I get lost. This is where I get lost because I have to question all these. I have to question all these things. Like I've never seen glaciers.
oh, I'm drinking
I'm assuming they're
Icelandic.
there, huh?
I'm drinking Icelandic,
Well, that proves it.
Icelandic glacial water.
All right.
So
It had to come from somewhere.
no, no,
I stand corrected.
I drink glacier water. I
Does it taste
know that they're real.
does it taste like um uh
Tastes like glaciers.
does it taste like dead polar bears?
Uh, no, no, I
No,
think they
well, then that means that they're growing. That means the glaciers are growing. You are correct. I
yeah,
apologize.
new glaciers and grown in laboratory, also known as refrigerator.
It does get so retarded because
Yeah,
when you
but
think about a concept, the power of a cartoon or the power of a celebrity or a person embodying characteristics on a screen, it's almost impossible to resist going along with whatever's being presented to you, and whatever story, like Terrence McKenna once said something that was interesting to me, is like the best story wins, and it just kind of tumbled out of his mouth with a bunch of other stuff. It was like
yeah,
that really was very telling, because he in a lot of his uh, later talks, you could tell there was a lot of he was entertaining himself, just knowing he was saying two or three different things, and different people would hear different things, and that's a really fascinating study of language, as well as being able to speak one sentence and many different words can be heard from it, and many different concepts can be birthed or and triggered in the audience's mind. And
right,
so when we find ourselves washed up on shore here, we've got a certain amount of tools that we can work with, and now even with all the shit that's on the internet, and one day it'll probably just be a for like an interface for commerce, which is just buying and shipping shit, and um, probably education will take place on screens. And it'll just all go through it'll all just go through the internet. But at this point, there's still a lot of you can do a lot of deep diving and find a lot of good shit. Looking at Wikipedia is great for a quick reference to kind of get a general idea, but it's not hard to figure out who's editing that information. And but back in the day, like in the 80s, you could find bobshomepage.com.
yeah,
If Bob was interested in collecting bottle caps, you'd
yeah.
find all these interesting root beer bottle caps from 1920. And, so
There's
you can
everything's
still
up.
get into this fucking internet before. I mean, it's quite. They always do this with the communication, is they'll make it available to everyone, get all the creative input into it, and the
Yeah,
programmers and the formatting. Then the advertising comes in and starts to reel back, and it's called censorship, but it's not really censorship. It's just kicking out the people who made it interesting, and
Yeah,
taking what cream rose to the top, and then it gets to a point where it's shut down and you have to be licensed to broadcast on it. So we're just at the very, I think we're at the very tail end of being able to do what we're doing, like a Breaking Wind dialogue show, without having to go through the whatever the YouTube of the future is going to be, or the Netflix. You have to be licensed to broadcast, and your format is going to have to fit uh, a certain structure, or you're not going to be able to get your information out there, and it will just become, you know,
yeah,
shit television, like in the 80s and 90s that we grew up with, where you think PBS is the educational channel because you don't have any alternatives.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then the
Um,
History Channel, and you start learning about these other things that are just to us obvious, conceptual fantasy, but the majority of people are believing them, and they're being physically motivated to become what I see as a corrosive force out here. So, man, I hope the white hatted them, the they with the white hats, are just spraying all the good shit down down on everybody, I, and in an attempt to make this less corrosive. I don't know. It all seems like kind of a rope a dope sometimes too.
well, yeah, I mean, I think going back to like what you were saying, like how you could always find more stuff out there. Like there's always going to be something to, carrot to follow, follow or,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
uh, and I think ultimately it's like a natural response from from a body, like like
if you're hungry.
if the allergy medicine's not working or like the antibiotics aren't working, you're going to change the medication or something. So like you, it's like a stair step evolution of human insight, and you can see that throughout history. I don't know if you heard of Lloyd Pye.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, he does some good work on that, like the stair step evolution type stuff. Like, if like the missing link is a real thing, there's actually like 50 missing links, not just a missing link.
Sure,
Uh,
sure. I mean, that's a great exercise to get you out of that either or duality mindset as well, because
yeah,
that opens up your creativity. It opens up your imagination to explore. You know,
right. So what happened was like, we started out all speaking one universal language, and we kind of mastered it, and then like we they kind of separated us and all made it so we all had to make more words and create a whole lot more hot air at the end of the day, and
yeah,
then and and that's kind of like what the internet or like the Terrence McKenna sound bites, like yeah, maybe he is CIA, maybe they're getting the information broadcasted down the fucking from the universal mind, and like telling the radicals, the free thinkers, basically how to change the direction and change the course of civilization to help this repair function that we're.
yeah. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. I think I've kind of got. I'm leaning I'm leaning towards the idea that the CIA, uh, these powers, these departments, and things like that. They seem.
Yeah,
I've come to realize that they're so tightly woven into the uh, the I don't know what it is. I guess the journalistic, the whoever is has the media and the books and the print, the cultural generators.
Yeah.
There's no, I can't make a distinction anymore between the government, the religion, the advertisers, uh, the journalists, the media, the music, the CIA, the military. Each one has its own sort of personality. The military is going to have, the equipment. The CIA is going to be the story writers, but a lot of these security groups, um, like what do you call them? These military groups, like the Black Ops. What was a popular one?
Blackwater.
Yeah, Blackwater or something like that. What they really appear to be is back backstory unfucker uppers. How can I explain it, man? It's like story repairmen, and with with an enforcement arm, they
Yep.
can go out and enforce the story, because when the story starts to get out of control and your audience isn't believing the story, you have to go influence the situation to where your audience does believe this
And
does believe
that
the story.
and that's the interject. That's the injection of new. You know, whatever. Like you're saying, yeah.
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and it functions just like a body in that sense, where there are these organs that will influence, but the difference between that model and the actual body is, well, I don't know if this is correct or not, but it seems the body has an innate desire to repair itself when without in the absence of interruption. Um,
Yeah. Your body's
and
gonna repair itself. Yeah.
and the world, like the earth itself, I'm sure does the same thing. The earth, the trees with the capillaries and the salt water filtering into fresh water, and the way the minerals and everything works in harmony like that. But I think the influence in our minds, like our egos are manufactured and created by other humans who erase our history with each generation to where we don't know where we came from, or how even our body functions. So the narrative that's being enforced either through uh, soft influence, and manipulation through imagery, or through hard influence using prison and weaponry and uh, demolition or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, that's I don't there's a clear distinction between what the earth is doing to repair itself or to grow, like we're in the middle of spring right now. You can't wrap your mind around how these things come up out of the ground, and just these little pieces of clover
Yeah.
come out of a little piece of shit dirt. Like, wow,
Yeah.
man.
You get a
That
fucking an oak out of an acorn. Like how science
un
can never fucking replicate that.
and you can't. I mean, I just I just have to say you can't. That's where I stand. And then the pursuit of that, to be able to replicate that, is in all it does is fuck up everything. But when you control this conceptual narrative and you keep doubling down on it, you get to a point where you're controlling a population of minds where you have to throw antibiotics at it to kill you have to be kind of ham-handed with it. You have to enforce it with violence and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I that distinction is really helpful for me because even jobs that I take now, I'll perceive somebody's behavior or just to use the phrase judge them by their fruits. Just see what they do. Like, is their workspace clean? Are they uh
Yeah.
you know look in the eyes of the people? Or do they look like decent human beings? Can they cut a fart and laugh at it? Or you know
That's important stuff.
I'm telling you. And then you can see, oh, this is a healthy system I want to be involved in. Like, yeah, wow, it's really interesting how there's these encapsulations. Like our
Yeah.
bodies themselves are that's the obvious encapsulation of something. But it's not an entirely closed system because we're breathing in and our skin is taking stuff in and we're shedding things off and we're digesting things and the communication going on. You just have to
Fractals.
yeah, but you kind of have to chalk it up to the unknowable, you know, whatever word you want to use, God or chi or it, and it's
Like,
beautiful because then you can just kind of rest because you realize everything else, if it doesn't function in that harmonious way, you can kind of just sit back and pop some popcorn and watch the whole thing shit the bed,
yeah.
even if
Yeah.
you are in a state of duality because you have a name and your penis is mutilated and you have to wear uh, shoes with rubber soles to go, uh,
Like you were trying to say before, like with the Lord God, and the God, like how there's
yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of
yeah, that
like different,
distinction.
well, different levels, like a creator writing about the creation. It's
Exactly. It's
it's kind of weird. So it's kind of like, yeah, we're all inside this human body. Inside our human body, there's human bodies. Inside, and then we're on the inside of a human body. That human body is on the inside doing the same shit we're doing, on a bigger scale. It's like Russian dolls.
that's it,
Uh,
man. That that works for me.
and the like the news stories, like you were talking about with these political interjections and like having a controlling force that goes out and enforces the story. That's like a medication dose or a metered dose of medication, if you will.
Yeah, destructive force of medication
Well,
trying to instill control or
and still,
to
or with
suppress.
a lot of hot air.
Well, yeah, well, to suppress the symptoms,
Well,
instead of treating the cause.
well,
The
again,
cops are the best antibiotics I know. Unless you need a stronger dose, and I,
I
you
sealed.
know, I know a fucking military nearby that could help you out with that.
Yeah.
You know, and not interested with the dysfunction or the the disharmony inside between, say, the kidney and the liver. There's there's a rhythm, even certain times of the day, like your liver kicks on
Yeah.
around 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. and there's a relationship. That's such
Yeah.
a beautiful, informative
The
way to
Saturn,
a
that's the
huh?
Saturn. That's the Saturn moon. That's the Saturn moon matrix.
Well,
Like lungs talking to the heart talking to the kidney, or
yeah,
that's
but there's a flow there, and even if someone attaches a narrative to that flow comes from uh, nature, comes from God. If you overlay your own conceptualization, your own story, your own narrative on top of it, then you can fuck shit up however you see fit. That's that's what everything is. Like chakras are following that same thing, but you can weaponize the concept of chakras and have people doing things in reverse to keep them suppressed. Like
mm-hmm.
So it's the narratives that fuck people up that interrupt it. That's the value of it. Because when you just sit and you watch it, you can figure it out. Like I put food in my mouth and something that's not food comes out of my ass.
Like the weaponization of Judaism,
Yeah, man, the Jews got fucked in that sense
or
because
whatever. The
they got
weaponization of Semitism.
yeah, perfect example because then it got to the point where it doesn't even represent it represents one thing, but the language represents something completely else. And
Yeah,
you got everybody so butt fucked backwards that they don't even know what they're talking about.
yeah.
And they get and then they get fractalized. It's brilliant. You can
So
fractalize
everybody,
people.
they
You
get
can
people to create their own destructive force.
yeah. Well, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
whole point. So
But you know,
if you can't do that, that's when you bring out the fucking
but that's all the sugar right there. I think that's the sugar is the destructive side, and like the I guess I don't know. We gotta somehow separate the hydrogen from the sugar when we eat fruit.
今日は
There's
ブレイキンのウィンダイアログショーです。友達、私
trying to
の
think
友達、マンブルズさん、
mega
いい
high
頭 means you're very smart. You have a good brain.
mega hydrate. Check into mega hydrate if you haven't already.
Is that a hotel?
No, mega hydrate.
You want me to check into it?
No, well, you don't have to do it live on the air, but you know.
No, I mean you want well. Mega high.
Yeah, mega hydrate. It's basically
Godzilla's enemy.
well, it's negatively charged hydrogen ions that you could add to your water.
Well, what's an ion?
Anything.
All right.
Anything you could put an eye on.
Well, I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. What else were we gonna talk about?
Fuck if I know, man. Let's talk about. Let's take a tech talk moment. So, since this is our 10th episode, are we just going? So we have a new channel. You compiled all of our episodes past 1 through 9 into
I
the
don't think
breaking.
9 is 9 on there.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe this is 9.
No, I know I got up to 8 on the Breaking Wind page. No, there's
so
9.
so
I
on the
know
break.
there's 9 on my page.
So on the Breaking Wind page,
I,
we've got 8
I,
of the episodes, and let me find it. I don't even know how to find it. You know, even I can't find the Breaking Wind dialogue show page.
I have to type in the Ghost of Retardica to find the show.
How is that even possible?
No, it comes up on the Ghost of Retardica sometimes. Not all the time.
That's because I put my little promos on there for the show. Every little video I put on my channel,
Yeah.
I say, don't listen to this shit. Listen to the Breaking Wind dialogue show. So I've attracted the attention of the algorithm.
The robot. Yeah.
The robot and me are in harmony. But I cannot fucking find. Oh, here we go. The Breaking Wind dialogue show. So just for the listeners who've made it this far through our 10th episode,
Yeah.
Mumbles has uploaded all of the videos, all of the audios in this order.
Well, no, I think
for easy access, and we have 7 subscribers already, so they've probably already been thoroughly informed by disappointment.
I hope so because it's I don't think they don't let you subscribe to your own channel anymore. I
Oh
caught on.
fuck! I don't even
So,
know what that means. That's so crazy. I don't even understand why not. What's the harm in subscribing to your own channel? It's
well,
like
they don't also advertisement.
yeah, one extra. Oh, I mean, these fucking. We really got to buy some subscribers, dude.
Yeah, like one subscribe per IP. It's kind of like or per email.
Oh,
One
well,
like one
whatever.
email.
All right. Well, so here's the dead bodies that episode 10 will lay the foundation for episode 10, which will go after episode 10. It'll be episode 11 and episode 12, and it'll start to follow in order. And I'm going to make a new thumbnail just to make the distinction so it's easy. So the first 9 episodes go in this order.
Just
Breaking
disregard.
Breaking Wind episode 6, Breaking Wind episode 2, Breaking Wind episode 8, Breaking Wind episode 7, Breaking Wind episode 5, Breaking Wind followed by Breaking Wind episode 1, flowing seamlessly into Breaking Wind episode 4, and Breaking Wind episode 3, which is almost correct. Concluding with My Sea Snake 2. So, subscribers to the Breaking Winds Dialogues show can look forward.
I told you there was more than one way to count.
They can look forward to even I didn't know we were the Breaking Wind Dialogues show.
Well,
It's plural, but that's true.
You want to change it? I don't know. I just fucking.
I don't have any. I don't have.
I think you all left. You can't do more a name change more than once every 45 days.
Something like that, right? You can't subscribe to yourself and you can't change your fucking name.
Yeah. If you made a typo, you're fucked.
You see, this is the boiling of the frog to where 10 years from now you won't even be able to have a podcast.
Yeah.
That has
without, some sort of official affiliation with some corporation.
Red Bull. Yeah, we're gonna have to get spot.
Water.
So I'm gonna correct the thumbnail and put an S on the dialogues because I think that does sound better. Even though it's a dialogue, we have many dialogues, so that would make it plural. The Breaking Wind Dialogues. Maybe it's not even a show; it's just the Breaking Wind Dialogues. How about that?
We don't really have any. Yeah, we don't really have anything to show anybody. So yeah,
it's a shit show, technically.
A thumbnail. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, we got a thumbnail that kind of ties it all together, sort of.
That's so
Like, we got a double-headed snake that represents us. That's good. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, that's.
Is that from a record album?
That's from Those Poor Bastards. I don't remember which record album, but the artist was those Poor Bastards, which is. I'd like to do something like that. That would be a nice musical collaboration.
Oh yeah, let's do some. I don't know what that is. That's another thing I got to look into. And
it's just like a 2-man band, and like the one dude wears like a hood over his head, and the other they're real like fucking. One's like a preacher looking dude.
Well, this sounds like it sounds like I can meet that bar of excellence.
Some of the latest album, or the later stuff is the lyricism is really compelling, and I think it's they share the same values that we're trying to convey.
Oh well, that's great. I would love to figure out how to do collaboration, something like that. I guess it's pretty easy. You can just record it and then I can download it and then add my stuff, and then we can ping pong it back and forth.
Yeah, we do something.
And but the
Lay down.
only problem
Lay
is
down.
what?
I lay down one fart track and then send it to
Oh
you and lay
yeah,
down a fart track.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and then neither one of us will be able to subscribe to it.
No.
We won't be allowed.
Well, we're not doing this for subscribers, so
Well, obviously not.
until I can figure out how them damn hashtags work.
Well, I mean, I know how they work, but now I think I look at the geometric effect these episodes and upload it in, because it would probably take a whole another 3 days to upload the episodes in numerological order. Yeah.
Numerical order? Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
you want
uploaded
to.
them. I actually uploaded them in the orthodox numerical fashion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I guess YouTube had a mind of its own. I guess what
Oh, I
video
see.
length, maybe it went by video length. I don't know, but I dumped them on there one after the other in sequence.
Oh, but not. Probably they have to upload and then process completely.
Yeah, yeah. So some
So they
speeds
would have
were
to be one at a time. Like you'd have to
yeah,
do it
yeah,
one at a time,
yeah.
and
It would
that's
have taken
probably
me a
going to
week.
take how many hours?
Would have taken. It would have taken. It's going to take less time for my snake to reach the maximum 48 inches that it's advertised to reach.
Which how's that coming along? I am curious.
Well, it's I don't know. Has it been 3 days now? 4 days?
Has it already been that many days? It
Well,
should.
it's come out of the box, and when it came out of the package, it's about I don't know. I'd say that's like 18 inches if you pull it tight, maybe
Yeah.
20 inches. I'd say after sitting in water for at least 48 hours, uh, it's probably about 30 inches overall now.
Right on
So
schedule.
it's
That's
still
good.
it
It's
still
gonna be
has a
a.
foot. It still has a foot or 18 inches to go. So, but
It's gonna be worth the wait. I can tell you that.
yeah, well, it does say up to 48 inches. So
Oh, see,
that's
there's always.
oh no, actually it says grows over 48 inches. So it's got to be at least 48.
Well, that's a promise they
Uh,
have to keep, or they're going to face some sort of litigation.
oh yeah, no, I'll bring it back. I know just where I bought this. So, I'll bring back a wet, dripping wet snake. It's been 5 days. Just slap that shit, slap it on the counter.
Oh fuck!
Mumbles,
Oh,
Mumbles will do it.
well, You'll get some good painting out of that snake for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I started my 9 foot by 12 foot canvas yesterday or last night.
Good God!
So I started fucking with that. I threw some at least a gallon of paint on it so far.
Now wait a minute. My sea snake too
That was the six
is
by nine.
complete. Is completed. The
Well,
seven.
I'm gonna let it marinate.
Oh yeah.
I put my airplane silhouette on there, and then
Oh.
I stood the painting up, and after like a day or two, like I just noticed like it all started like
Dripping.
just the airplane part started fucking like sagging. So I'm gonna have to touch up that part. Yeah, I mean, I think overall that's kind of what I think I'm gonna go for.
I think just throw that snake at it, man.
A galaxy type looking scenario with the chemtrail, with the big chemtrail going across the center.
have have you put up a video with that yet? I guess not, because I don't seem to recall of
I think it's the
airplane.
thumbnail. The thumbnail is the finished picture. If you look at the thumbnail, I think I used the finished phone.
This is asking a lot. I don't get a video with all this technology. All I do is get a tiny thumbnail.
Well, you get to see like a crappy video of me painting part of,
Yeah, those shits are great, man.
and then at the end, you don't get to see the big reveal. So
Well,
the thumbnail is like the finished, just about the finished product. I got to work on the airplane a little better,
you
make it
know,
look, make it read
that
better. You know.
that reminds me exactly of this podcast, which is not a podcast. The thumbnail kind of gives the whole thing away, and then
Yeah,
you're deprived of the big reveal at the end.
yeah, yeah. So
Is
I got this 12 by 9 canvas on the floor, and the corners are basically just held in place by dry paint because I basically painted it to the floor.
oh
So it's going to help, keep it from bunching up while I'm painting the rest of it. So
well, did
it,
you ever
it worked out. So
did you? Well, that's odd. Did you ever watch that video I sent you of, called "Painters Painting"? And it's some old dudes. It's a documentary of like 8 different older established painters from the 70s.
I have not
And
viewed that. I might have viewed it. I don't know if it
yeah, these
was.
things get lost in the
Yeah,
fractalization of fruit soup.
I've seen so many things.
I know. I did. Well, I'll send you a link to that video. I think I probably put it in my like list, and I just expected all the world had
Um,
watched it. It's called Painter's Painting, and
uh-huh.
basically, there's one guy in there. I don't know his name. He's an
They
established
paint.
artist. Yeah, they paint. The name kind of gives it away. But what you described of painting your canvas to the floor to keep it there until it's done. Uh,
Yeah.
there's a there's just a moment in this documentary. I think I think you'll appreciate. I'll see how
Yeah.
much effort I put into digging that up. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of effort, we got a double-headed snake from somebody else's record album. You want me to put a little elbow grease into creating
Oh, sure.
an image
Anything
for
that
the
you
Breaking
want
Wind Dialogue show,
yeah, anything you want to put in there is fine by me.
or
Uh,
a
you
background at the top, like a unique Breaking Wind Dialogue
yeah, if you want to have something
background?
that's more tailored to the channel, I'm all for it.
I mean,
I only have a cell phone to work off of,
oh,
so
that's right. You can't even fucking.
yeah, I mean I could do it. It's just so like it's such a pain in the fucking ass to do anything with it.
And
Especially I still have a broken screen. I still
you,
every
so you,
fucking asshole was like, oh, it's like $100 to fix the screen. You better just buy
nah.
the new. You could buy a new cell phone for $250. I'm like, where are these cell phones $250 that everyone keeps telling
Yeah,
me
man.
I
Oh,
could just buy? Like anytime I fucking try and buy a phone, it's like, oh, you got a 2 year contract, or you're paying $1,000 for a fucking phone.
yeah. Well, I trip over those $250 phones all day long. I'll pick a couple up and stick them in my back pocket for you the next time. You can
Yeah,
fix that screen. You can fix that screen for $20, twenty
I'm
five
going.
bucks.
Yeah, but the upstate is just like 30 years,
Yeah.
30 years like fucking behind compared to like Long Island, probably 50 years behind compared to the city there. So
It's hard to tell. Things are pretty bass backwards here, but as far as like the economy moving prices down on things like that, yeah, it's cheaper here. The quality is
yeah,
also, well, it's probably about the same. You're not going to
yeah,
get a whiz bang customer service presentation,
yeah.
but your
So
phone screen will be fixed, but something else will be wrong with it. Then when you get
yeah,
it back, for sure,
yeah.
there'll be
It's always
catch up in your headphone hole.
yeah, yeah.
It's a, you know, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, so
Yeah.
maybe we could do that. So we got episode 6287514 and my sea snake 2 bringing up the rear. That sets the foundation for the celebratory 10th episode of the Breaking Winds dialogues.
Yeah,
So
you could. You still have the thing for the login to go onto that.
I got it, but you know what's the
I mean,
point
it
of
was
going? What's the
pretty
point of
easy.
going? Yeah, I mean I hear you. One thing is I don't want to fuck up uh first one off YouTube channel somehow.
Yeah,
And
I have it under two different email accounts.
oh, do you? They're
Yeah,
separated? Okay.
that's a Mumbles Undertone like Gmail account.
Yeah, there's like so many names going on. I don't know what's a mumbles undertone. I get a dialogues with a S. I get a dialogue without a show on it. I get I get 6287514 Sea Snake 2. And
That's
I
my
get
safe com
I is that your phone number?
my safe combo.
Oh, it's your say. Oh, maybe that's your Bitcoin. Maybe your
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Oh man,
I'm
I'm
telling
so fucking
I'm
my
telling
ass is
you.
puckered, man. I thought I almost found it while I was going through all the
Yes, yes, it's getting closer, dude. It's getting closer.
I was going looking for that list of those places that we started out talking about. And
Oh yeah, that was the best
I
way.
found the folder and I like for some reason like my memories just involve me writing it on the inside of this folder. But I
Yeah.
found the folder and it's or the folder I was thinking that it was. It wasn't.
Yeah, I
So
hear you, but that's just another breadcrumb along the path, my
yeah,
friend. We're
yeah,
almost there.
hopefully I'm getting close.
We're almost there. So you just got
But
to.
yeah, had something else to add. Uh, oh yeah, like these going back to the inner Earth and stuff, like the
Took the
the
scenic
dwarf,
took the
like
scenic route.
the dwarf people, like these the little people.
And the dwarfs?
Yeah, you ever see the little people and or the midgets? You know, they
They
don't
live
like being called
underground?
midget. Well, not always, but now they're up here, we call them midgets. Underground, who knows what they're called underground. They're on the other side of the lungs. But
They called
you know,
King.
yeah, yeah, little Keebler elves. But I was I, I used to live in a town, Belmore, and right bordering Belmore was a town called Merrick, and
Okay.
in Merrick there was a hamlet called Tiny Town, and
Oh no.
all of these houses were built for like midgets. That's not the official story. Like
Oh, that's not the official story, huh?
official story is that they're all just little like fucking bungalows for some fucking farm workers or some bullshit. But no, ways are fucking like 3, 4.5 feet tall and shit. Like you're not making bungalows that small, you know.
Yeah, address the issue of the bungalow size, not just hey, it's some bungalows and let it go. These are midget bungalows.
So yeah, there's a midget village. I don't think there's any real midgets living in that town. Maybe there are, but
Wait a
it's
minute.
all normal. I think it's all normal sized people living in the houses. But
I guess they all went
it's
down
like,
to the foot of the Sphinx,
yeah, all the little people seem to have found the way out,
or the way in,
or yeah, on the outside of the lung.
but they're definitely not in the not in the bungalows anymore.
See a black spot on the outside of the lung versus something on the inside of the lung.
Hmm. We've got a lot of learning to do.
Yeah.
I don't care either. I don't care if I get an A in this class. I don't.
Yeah, grades were overrated.
Certainly.
So
I must have
Yeah.
missed some important part of the programming for sure. I am really on the outskirts of
Yeah.
of the duality. Well, all right. We got a break and win dialogues, and congratulations to you, Mr. Mumbles Undertone McFlurry Breath the Turd, for making it this far.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. It gives the impression after doing 9 of these recordings that there was some effort involved in it.
It has that impression that
Don't
there's
you
effort.
think? Don't you think? I look at it. I'm looking at the Breaking Wind dialogue show. It looks like somebody put some effort into this.
I mean, I think if you took them all as a whole and listened to all 10 of them and had uh, your own mental capacity to actually like think these things out,
Yeah.
uh, you might understand, and it might actually look like it's some sort of cohesive tale. The
You
only
have
thing
to
I felt,
participate.
yeah, I just failed to tie the dolphins in this time. Damn.
Well, we'll be getting a lot of email
Yeah.
again. The dolphin issue has become problematic at best. People, it's like come for the midget bungalow, stay for the dolphin. And
Yeah.
I think now that we've quarantined the Breaking Wind dialogues off into its own channel, there's probably going to be fewer and fewer complaints as time goes on.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
let's. Do you like complaints? I take the complaints as constructive criticism.
yeah. Well, I don't even think we're going to get any constructive criticism.
Very few comments.
Very. The thing about these dialogues is they require audience participation in the fact that you really have to fucking pay attention to what we're talking about. And you got to fill
Yeah.
in a lot of blanks and missing words and forgotten sentences.
Yeah.
Speaking from
Just because you
speaking for
hear me
myself.
sparking, just because you hear me sparking up, doesn't mean you have to be getting high listening to YouTube videos. You should be
Yeah,
listening to what we say and not what we do.
that's right. Monkey do as we say, not as we monkey do.
Yeah.
Don't be
And
like Uncle Mumbles.
eat Cheerios on a Tuesday.
Well,
Yeah.
someone out there is going to benefit from these numbers.
I hope
Six
so.
two eight seven five 1 4 3 2.
That's
Good.
this evening's pick four or
Good.
win five.
It's up to us to divine these things. It's not up to us to decipher them. So
Yes.
that's where the audience comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. A push pull. Got to have both sides working proactively.
It's a double funnel, just like a fart or love. How else are you going to make a dolphin star unless you push and pull at the same time? You fucking morons.
We're starting dolphins now.
Well, I'm just tying it in so we don't get our mailbag full of
Yeah.
hate mail.
Yep.
We have 30% more dolphin next episode, guaranteed.
Well, it will increase ratings. It's guaranteed to increase ratings.
But I have to say, last episode's cliffhanger did lead to Midget Village. So
Well,
it's not
it's a
it's
lot.
not a complete ripoff.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot that could be unfolded just in that whole, dwarf midget folklore or whatever you want to call it, mythicism.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
there's your cliffhanger for next one. Number 11. Midget mysticism. Fucking prime your pumps, windbreakers. Which that's what I guess we call our
Now,
fans.
now
We all,
available in midget sizes.
yeah, don't be shy. If you're underdeveloped human being and you need to wear normal people clothes, hey, we hate everyone equally here, and we'll put just as much effort into your clothing apparel as we
Yes.
will someone who's not deformed.
Operators are standing by to take all your windbreaker orders.
Several of them. Maybe we need like a breaking wind telethon or something.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, if we get some celebrities on here.
Telethon marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Celebrity appearances by the Mystic Dwarves.
And maybe some of our old friends.
People.
Who else is out there? I don't know. I guess you shouldn't name names.
Well, that's yeah, that was a whole other thing that we were supposed to talk about some Charlie and stuff. But
Oh, you did hint at the idea. For those
yeah,
who for those who didn't sit down through the last uh, 3 hours of information, nutrient dense information, um, in the woods outside of Mumbles' childhood home was a
well,
man
no, no.
who's, well, let me just tell it my way, and then we can
Okay, all
fucking
right.
let the we let it marinate. A homeless man sucked his own penis and self-combusted. Now, to be continued. Lucky listener, Mumbles will continue the story in all its fine detail and minutia.
Oh boy. Yeah, no. Well, the touching of one's tip to one's tip was that's speculatory at best. So
Uh,
yeah, but no, it wasn't near I mean, it was near the house. This was in a public, like a wooded preserve. The cool kids or the outcasts or the freaks like myself would congregate in these woods to consume alcoholic libations or things like that.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I befriended a few homeless guys, but Charlie was like the main dude. He was like the go-to guy that I'd look for to buy my booze for me and hang out. We'd hang out and talk, and he'd show me the ways and stuff, tell me all these good stories and spiritual guidance and
He
all
was a
that.
guru. He was a man who lived in the forest who
Yeah.
gave you guidance. He was a guru.
Yeah, any 16-year-old kid would be enthralled, I'm sure, just like, oh yeah, this guy knows everything,
Especially a drunk one, a drunk 16-year-old.
Yeah. So anyway, one day I went traipsing through the woods like I usually do, and I came about his campsite. He was yeah.
Sorry, just just traipsing through the woods like I usually do. I'm sorry. Oh God. Oh, please don't let me interrupt.
So I'm going through these woods, and I come across his campsite, and he burnt like almost completely, head to toe, fucking charred black. Um, and then,
Oh, it's
yeah, so
horrible. It's a
he,
horrible thing for a
he,
young man to.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there was definitely a campfire there, so I don't know if he did the old self combustion.
the,
that
the
that would
the forbidden yoga pose.
yeah, that's like the phoenix rising from the ashes type of, you know. And
Well, there ain't.
then
Yeah.
what I wanted to add to that was later, probably I don't know 3 or 4 years after Charlie fucking burnt to a crisp.
Hmm.
I'm working in a whole new place, surrounded by all different people, but this one of the guys that worked, at the same place I was working. We just became really fast friends, and his name is not Charlie, but they call him Charlie. Everybody calls him Charlie.
That's even better.
It's a nickname that they gave him, and it just like stuck. Like, not like the people from the company. Like this was like, his family members called him, "Hey, Charlie boy,"
Right, right.
He's Trinidadian. So,
Oh,
uh,
even better.
but anyway, Charlie calls everybody old boy. Hey, old boy, what you doing today? Like, hey, come and check me, old boy. Uh,
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
you call him old boy also. Like, hey, when I
Yeah,
talk to him, I call him old boy, and he calls
yeah.
me, what he calls me, like Christophe. You know, he introduces me to people as his son. Like this is
Yeah, yeah.
like we've I don't know, we've probably known each other like 20 years now, uh,
Wow.
maybe less, 18 years now. We've been work together. Like we had a business together.
Yeah, long enough to round up.
Yeah, yeah. So we're he's family basically. So, but coming up through my research with my long uh, passion for Buddhism and Taoism, Confucianism, that type
Yes.
of stuff. I learned to discover that Tao Tzu's that Tao Tzu, is that how you say it? Tao Tzu?
I don't know. Lao Tzu?
Yeah, Lao Tzu.
Yeah, Lao Tzu.
That means that translates to old boy.
Oh, get the fuck out.
Yeah. So there's that. And
Why these things always happen to me? Why these things always happen to me?
get this, get this. You know, he's in a situation now where he really did well for himself. He's got his own business, his own fucking facility,
Damn.
his own shop, and inches away from JFK, like over there. So premium real estate over, so
Yeah.
he's good. He's got his own fucking corner of the earth cut out, and it's squatter rights to boot. And the city can't do squat, which is
Oh, nice.
I love going there to work. But
Ah,
he's also by uh, the American standard what you would call like illiterate, like he can't read or write. And
awesome.
he's like the smartest guy I know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, it reminds me back in the day I used to run into more cats like that. Maybe it was because I was younger,
I'm sorry.
but
His mother was also a midwife, or like what they would call like the like not a witch doctor, but like within the
yeah.
tribe, like in Trinidad, like she
Yeah,
would be
man.
the one to assist in the births and stuff. Like she was like the whatever, like the herb lady. And he had a bunch of brothers. I know a couple of them. Him and his brother Desmond. He'd tell me the story. Yeah, old boy, I used to have my own cow, we used to, him and his brother would just get the milk right out the udder, just
Yeah.
suck on the udder, like it was like they were nursed from the cow, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's how they fucking grew up, man. I just
Big and strong. Well, that's where you fucked up.
yeah. Well, I have
You
the
gotta suck a
open.
cow
I
titty.
have, I have the open invite to go and live in Trinidad with him when it's time to retire. So.
Man, there ain't nothing wrong with Trinidad except a couple of things.
There
But
ain't no time. There ain't no time like island time, boy.
oh man, you want to get away from time? That's the place to go.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, old boy. I love it, man. I'd love to meet some of these characters because
Yeah.
they've killed all my characters.
Maybe
I
we do a phone interview with them sometime. Maybe.
Oh yeah. You
That'd be,
know, you've got that you've got the same app I've got, man. The
yeah, yeah.
uh, fucking words, Retardica
Dis-
words. The
Discord.
Discord app with Craig.
Yeah,
Craig is
he wouldn't know how to use that.
oh
He
yeah.
he can't do
Yeah,
text.
yeah, I hear you. Fucking he's illiterate.
Yeah, no, like he'll hand you his phone and tell you like, yeah, call, Craig, and you look through his contacts, and however Craig entered his number is how is what you got.
Well, I'll tell you what. Um, he
But
probably
I'd do it for him. I mean, I see him regularly enough. I could always just talk to him, and fucking record it.
yeah, just do a little audio recorder on your broke ass phone.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a tape recorder on there somewhere.
yeah.
Fuck, dude. What have we done? Well, that's really interesting.
Lao Su,
Wow,
old
so oh
boy.
boy, I got that. I got that book floating around here somewhere. It's one of the
It's like
few.
the child, yeah, the child, like like old boy. It's kind of like you're a boy in your adulthood. Like you got
Yeah,
that
yeah, sure.
the childlike wonder, and like getting back to like the rocks and crystals. Like, well, isn't it
Exactly.
pretty instinctual for children to pick up rocks? And, like put them in their pockets and shit. Like kids are always playing with fucking rocks and putting them in their mouths and if
Well,
they're allowed to play outside. I don't know.
if they're allowed, yeah.
Unless they got a fucking cell phone
Well,
instead
there
of
you
the,
go.
and that's part of the problem.
Is those $250 cell phones they play with?
Yeah.
They don't have rocks anymore. They just the ground is
Yeah.
just littered with $250 cell phones.
Yeah, instead of putting rocks in put all cell phone batteries in
This is the what they call it, where man meets machine. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, the singularity
yeah.
when babies are just fucking putting battery components in their mouth and sucking on it. And this is the singularity.
Yep.
Well, we've done it. We've done it again. I feel
We
like
have.
we're gonna conclude this episode, and then I'm just gonna text you about 2 hours later and say, "Hey, you feel like breaking some more wind?"
Yeah, we could do something later. I learned this morning that my wife won't be home till later from work this evening.
I guess that does kind of come into play when you record these things.
Well, I just like
Just
to be able to be as loud as I want.
I hear you. Even you got a big space out there. It's still, yeah.
Yeah, she hears it through the ceiling and shit.
You're like a bad neighbor.
Yeah, well, and I'm sympathetic for it because I grew up to that shit. My I fucking all my whole life, my brother played guitar mostly, but he plays everything.
Man.
Like, he's got a doctorate in music, but he fucking plays. And that's all he would ever fucking do. Like
Oh
any fucking
man.
time of night, like he would never fucking be sleeping. Anytime I'm fucking home trying to sleep, I just hear that fucking shit through the walls, you know? Like, you know, and like even when he was good, you know, like when he was even like
Yeah.
after he was like a polished musician, like you know, and he could make cool stuff. But
Yeah,
that
man.
his style of music, like at that time, I wasn't into what he was fucking into. So like, I just hear like fucking all sorts of fucking weird shit through the walls, and I'd be like, oh, you know, I gotta be up at fucking like 6, and this motherfucker don't have a job making all this fucking noise.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
well,
try to be courteous because I know I don't like the noise when I don't want it. So
that's what makes you a good old boy,
yeah,
you know. Lucky for lucky for my family, I played the quietest instrument known to man.
yeah.
Yeah, I played the skin flute.
Well, you can play that pretty stealthily
And
if
man,
I remember so myself.
you got to keep quiet in the jungle, otherwise you're gonna attract the attention of Charlie. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean? You don't
yeah.
want to get sniped by the Viet Cong. You gotta play your flute in the woods very trepidatiously.
Tread lightly.
Tread, tread lightly with skin flute. Only one hole has it.
Yeah.
It's it's like this is like a bad show, but it's the best show I know.
Well, yeah. I mean, this would be no different than like the conversation I would be having to myself, listening to like somebody else talk about it. You know, like when I listen to uh like like last week you mentioned the higher side chats or something. Like I'll listen to that
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be like talking to. I'll be like, no, Greg, that's fucking because of this.
Oh,
You know, I always do that shit. Like I have a conversation with.
oh God. Oh,
So
you
free to join in on your end, viewers.
yeah, whatever that means. You know, I guess just what would that involve chiming in?
Yeah, I probably should have said that at the beginning because now they have to listen to the whole episode. So yeah, go back and start this over
Chime
and talk over it while you're listening.
it's a it's a hell of a format we've created.
It is patented.
Not many patent pending.
Hmm.
Well, congratulations again on
Yeah, well, I
I
gotta
haven't
run. Gotta run myself. So
no. Well, I can't even remember the last time I did 10 things in succession, to be honest.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
beyond the daily
I think
necessities.
the dedication is definitely there. So
Well,
it's
let's just keep on schmucking.
yeah. I
And
gotta go to the farmhouse or the old farm stand and get my weekly supply of number
oh,
two vegetables.
let me say that on the way out, as we peel out of this episode,
Yes,
your trip to the farm stand
yes,
actually inspired me because I was uh, through these conversations. One of the many things that I've benefited from is um, inspiration about cooking vegetables because I'm kind of running out of methods for cooking vegetables, and it's because my organic store is overpriced and is starting to have a limited selection. So I decided I live in the city. What's one of the benefits of living in the city? A Union Square farmers market.
yeah,
Just because not eating any meats or dairy products or anything like that. So it makes it real simple. Just focus on the vegetables. Just fill up a
yeah,
big bag, make a smash and grab. Just run in there, grab the shit, and get back to my
yeah.
cave.
don't even worry about what it is. If it's a vegetable that
Exactly.
you've never seen before,
Just
fucking
get it.
grab it. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's it
that's the
gonna
way to go.
hurt you? It's not gonna hurt you.
No, well, that's how I discovered what is it, celery root? No, is it not celery root? Something that tastes like well, fuck it. Next episode, cliffhanger. What was the vegetable that
The
Retardica couldn't fucking remember this time?
the bok choy, like you get the fucking fresh bok choy vegetable.
There's something. It looks like the butt end of a broccoli, no florets, just the stem of a broccoli, and it kind of
Okay.
tastes like that. But it
Huh.
has a sort of a celery smell to it. It has very distinct smell and flavor. And when
Yeah,
you get it, you don't know what to fucking do with it.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, point
Yeah.
is, smash and grab. Get yourself some fucking vegetables and bring them to your house. Quit being a fucking retard like me, wasting
Yeah.
half your life putting box foods in your fucking plastic bag and getting it home and not getting any nutrition. You know, everybody's dying of fucking starvation, even though they're tumbling around in these huge dysfunctional bodies, is because they're starving to death.
Yeah.
That's the
They're
body reacting to not getting any nutrients.
yeah, starving for nutrition. You might fill your fucking gullet with shit, but you're not getting any benefit from it except for being fat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You fucking fat breaking wind listeners, get out there and listen to fucking Mumbles for once. God damn it, Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar created the duality that fucked your fat ass up.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find a market, a farmer's market. If you don't have a farmer's market, go to some hippie co-op. If you live in a college town, there's usually some co-op. Get in there with your fucking Birkenstocks.
Yeah. And if you're interested in this type of topic, maybe you could check out Colin Smith at Lifting the Veil.
Oh,
Uh,
the old lifting the veil.
yeah, I don't know. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember him.
He still does stuff, but he's got a couple. He's still got a couple of videos on like veganism and stuff like that that are
Yeah,
really
yeah,
helpful.
yeah. That
And
you gotta go in there and you gotta get the information however you can because nobody's really gonna just fork it over
yeah,
to you willingly. You got to do your research,
take it with a grain of salt, and
man.
also check out the hydropathy one as well. Maybe that we could tie in to our universal submersion model.
Well,
Uh,
if I can figure out how to use dang old hashtags.
well, hydropathy is. I don't think there's much about it on the internet, so that should come up relatively quick.
Good. No homework today. Great.
But yeah,
Well,
he had a good shower scene in that video. He called it out. like a 20-minute shower scene. He's just like, this is how like massage your fucking like glands, like as you're
oh yeah.
hot, cold.
Oh God.
Like the whole video is him in the fucking shower. I'm like, what the?
This is getting. It's gonna be great when they do finally pull the plug on this shit, and they just can't make videos anymore, and you just gotta sit with what you got.
Yeah,
Like, if you didn't get the information and they shut the fucking thing down, fucking boo hoo. You had a chance. Now you're
yeah.
fucked. The door's closed. No
Download it, and take it off of the internet device.
Man, that's what I'm doing right now. I found one resource that I will not share, and there's about 200, 200 lectures, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
taking them all down because it's going to disappear. Actually, the website got shut down, and I had to find it in an archived file, cached somewhere on the fucking dark web. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, the
Uh,
dark is basically like what the internet was before internet security.
well, that's kind of what I figured, but
Yeah,
because it's always bass backwards. But yeah, I found I was bitching and moaning because the fucking podcast disappeared. This guy was putting out good shit
Yeah,
with no perceivable agenda whatsoever, no friends, just a dude. And I was
yeah,
like, God damn, these are good. I would miss these if they were gone. And then one day they were gone, all gone, and they
yeah,
were cached somewhere. So I'm downloading that now. That's good advice. You know, Dover's shit's all gone for what
yeah,
it's worth.
yeah. There's another website, Jim, jims.com, Jims. I think
Uh-uh.
that I think that was a .com. A lot of like Liberty files and stuff like
Mm.
for sovereignty and like all like the templates
Oh
for
yeah,
templates for doing your own paperwork and stuff like that.
yeah. If you want to go that angle, tons of shit that you can pull off the web.
Yeah.
Got to do your research though.
Yes.
Don't just jump into those fucking things and get yourself into a knot you can't untie yourself from. You
Listening
set
to retards.
man, you set yourself free, and you know it ain't fun being butt naked out in the middle sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
do your homeworks. What else? There's lots of men archive.org. There's tons of books you can download.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah,
yeah.
that's like the whole thing. Unless you're plugged in with one of these devices, you lose access to it. I have a fucking couple of e-readers with like 20, 30,000 books on them. Like, I lose the device, I'm fucked. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's part of the long game too. The long term planned obsolescence is to take all of your history, all of the things you care about, and put it on smaller devices and CDs and thumb drives
Yeah.
until one day, one generation passes, and all that, all that traceable history of your existence, your family's existence, everything that you did is just fucking gone. Memory
Well,
hold.
I think it'll just be so small that it'll eventually be um, like an inoculation, like when you're born, like they inject you because it'll be so fucking it'll be nanoscopic. The
I
information
guess. I mean,
they'll just inject you at birth with the information that they want you to fucking know, or is that what they're doing?
is that what they're
Dun,
doing
dun,
already?
dun.
But tune in next time for
Breaking wind.
see you next time, everybody.